Okay, pages 216 to 217 in your R book. Okay, let's do the learning targets first. So, learning targets. I can use clues in the text to figure out the meaning of words and phrases. I can identify important events in the text and cite evidence. I can restate others' ideas and explain your own ideas or my own ideas. My own ideas about information that is being discussed. Okay, so today's goal. Today we'll use word strategies to explore the meaning of an unfamiliar phrase. We use surrounding text as a clue to help us think deeply about the meaning. Okay, so we have two new words, remain and claim. Those are on 216. Here are the definitions to make sure those are in and create your example for each. Okay, let's remember the prior reading. Witnesses have identified John Wilkes Booth as the shooter of President Lincoln, and soldiers are on the lookout for him. Where will Booth go? Let's keep reading to find out. So, yeah, I will only reread 216 to 217. That's what we need. Okay. And then we'll go from there. Now you'll be filling in, of course, the vocabulary first. Okay, 216. Then you'll move on to 217, okay? So let's take a look at that first. That way you have it. Oh, Miss Betty lost it. There it is. Okay, so for 217, you are filling in. Oh, I wish I. Oh. List three major events that occur in this part of the text. So three major events. And then you can see your word strategies. Okay, they give you a quote and they're asking you what it means. So my word could not be bought for 100 times that amount. Underline in the text a detail that helps you understand what he means. And then the stretch will be the last thing you do, and you'll be able to read that on your own. Okay. Okay, so follow along with me. I'll read 216 to 217. Okay. Should have that in front of you. April 15th. Booth and his accomplice, David Harold, stopped to pick up two rifles at Surratt Tavern. The owner, Mary Surratt, is a Confederate sympathizer. She later says she knew nothing of Booth's plan, but tavern keeper John Lloyd, I'm so sorry, says she told him to have those shooting irons ready for Booth. Mud Farm. Booth had broken his leg fleeing the theater. He and Harold go to the home of Dr. Samuel Mudd. Mudd, a Confederate supporter, owned slaves until Lincoln emancipated them. Mudd treats Booth's leg. He invites the fugitives to spend the night. The next day, Mudd goes into town. He learns that Lincoln has died. Now Mudd is Booth's accomplice. Booth and Harold. Oh, I'm sorry. Booth and Harold. I'm so tired. I lost my spot. Booth and Harold then go to the home of another Confederate supporter, Samuel Cox. Cox leads the men to a hiding place in the woods near the Potomac River. He vows to help them escape to Virginia. To him, Booth and Harold are heroes. Cox enlists the aid of Confederate secret agent Thomas Jones, April 17th. Jones wants to help the fugitives, but Union cavalry are nearby. Booth and Harold must remain in hiding. If Jones turns Booth and Harold in, he will collect a $75,000 reward, but he is sworn to support the Confederacy. No, indeed, he later recalls, my word could not be bought for 100 times that amount. When Union soldiers first questioned Dr. Mudd, he claimed not to know the men who visited his farm on April 15th. 3 days later, soldiers questioned Mudd again. He admits that one of them was Booth. April 24th. After rowing the wrong way across the Potomac River, The fugitives end up back in Maryland at a farm where Colonel Hughes lived. After reaching Port Conway, Virginia, they travel across the river. Meanwhile, the fugitives see three Confederate soldiers. They ask the soldiers for help. Harold identifies Booth as the man who killed the president. To the soldiers, Booth is a hero. The soldiers take Booth and Harold to Richard Garrett's farm. They say Booth is a wounded Confederate soldier. Garrett agrees to let the men stay at his farm for a day or two. On April 25th, Union soldiers learned that a man with a broken leg had crossed the river the day before with three Confederate soldiers and that Willie Jett was probably headed for the Star Hotel. Soldiers capture Jett at the hotel. Scared, Jett leads the soldiers to Garrett's farm. The cavalry arrives at the farm. The final showdown has begun. The Garretts have locked Booth and Harold in a tobacco barn. Harold surrenders, but Booth refuses to be taken alive. The troops set the barn on fire. With his gun in hand, Booth approaches the door. Sergeant Boston Corbett watches Booth through a crack in the barn wall. He aims his rifle and fires, striking Booth in the neck. The wound is fatal. The 12-day manhunt is over. Okay. So on the page over here, you have your key ideas, 3 major events that occur in this part of the text, using word strategies about my word cannot be bought for 100 times that amount, and then don't forget to do the stretch.